You've seen Air Force One, you've heard of gold-plated jets, but nothing prepares you for what Vladimir Putin flies in, and why Donald Trump once tried to replicate it. From North Korean decoys to Saudi palaces in the sky, this video reveals the private jets that aren't just luxurious, they're weapons of diplomacy and power. And if you stay until the end, you'll see the one jet that redefined what government luxury truly means. Kim Jong-un's decoy fleet of Soviet shadows. While other world leaders fly in tech-laden Boeings or gold-trimmed Airbuses, Kim Jong-un travels like it's still the Cold War. And that's not an accident. Instead of one flagship jet, North Korea's leader reportedly rotates between three nearly identical Ilyushin Il-62S, relics of the Soviet era modified into high-security air puzzles. At first glance, they seem outdated, but that's the point. Each Il-62 is estimated to be worth around $30 million after modifications, bringing the total fleet cost to nearly $90 million. But these aircraft are more than transportation. They're part of a grand deception campaign. Every takeoff involves a game of misdirection. Identical paint jobs, flight patterns, and transponder signals make it nearly impossible for foreign intelligence to pinpoint which one carries the supreme leader. It's not just camouflage, it's control through confusion. Inside, the jets are anything but Spartan. According to intelligence sources and defector reports, the interiors include crystal ashtrays, solid gold drink trolleys, and hand-selected carpets imported from elite Chinese manufacturers. The contrast is intentional. Austerity on the outside, opulence on the inside. A leader who can't leave the country much still demands his own moving palace. And the upgrades aren't merely aesthetic. These Il-62S are reportedly equipped with hardened comms infrastructure, missile jamming systems, and radar-absorbing paint. Some even speculate about onboard escape pods. Unconfirmed, but perfectly aligned with a regime built on contingency planning and hyper-goal. Why not fly a newer jet? Because sanctions make acquiring Western aircraft impossible. Kim leans into vintage Soviet machinery, not by choice, but necessity. Yet he's turned that limitation into strategy, embracing retrofitted Cold War tech and wrapping it in the mystique of unpredictability. Each time one of these jets lifts off, it's not just a flight, it's a performance, a silent broadcast of power wrapped in misdirection. They're not the flashiest jets in the sky, but they may be the most quietly dangerous. Comment 3 jets 1 ghost if you think no other leader has turned secrecy into such a strategic art form, because up next we're boarding a jet where luxury isn't implied, it's gilded, literal, and flying under royal command. King Salman's flying palace of faith and firepower. In the realm of royal luxury, few names rival King Salman of Saudi Arabia. But his private jet doesn't just rival, it redefines what's possible in airborne excess. Known as the Flying Palace, his Boeing 747-400 is not a modified airliner. It's an airborne kingdom valued at an estimated $600 million, where the lines between religion, luxury, and military-grade security are deliberately blurred. From the moment you step inside, this aircraft abandons every convention of flight. The interiors are carved from imported Italian marble, trimmed with gold fixtures and accented by hand-woven Persian carpets, the same style found in Saudi palaces. But it's what the jet includes that truly separates it from the rest. There's a private prayer room, custom designed to rotate electronically so it always faces Mecca, no matter where the jet is flying. Just beyond that is a private cinema, a spa, and a fully equipped gym, complete with treadmills, massage tables, and high-centered recovery systems. It's not just for indulgence, it's designed to allow the monarch to maintain daily religious and personal routines without interruption, even 40,000 feet above sea level. The entire aircraft is armored, not figuratively, literally. It includes ballistic shielding, missile detection systems, and electronic jamming arrays capable of confusing ground-based radar and heat-seeking weapons. Satellite communication allows the king to hold live sessions with global leaders or command local operations without delay. Essentially, this jet doubles as a mobile command center, but one wrapped in silk and gold. What's most striking is how seamlessly it blends faith and force. There are Quranic inscriptions inscribed along the hallways and a built-in library of religious texts, all carefully preserved in climate-controlled cabinets. The staff on board includes both political advisors and religious scholars, a reflection of the dual leadership role of the Saudi monarch. This isn't travel, it's symbolism at altitude, a demonstration of how Saudi power isn't just projected through oil or diplomacy, but through the fusion of sacred ritual and absolute wealth. And when the king descends from this jet, the message is clear. This isn't a man in transit, it's a sovereign arriving with his kingdom in tow. And yet, just beyond this gold-plated grandeur, waits another aircraft, one where the seatbelts are gilded, but the walls hide encrypted war rooms. Vladimir Putin's $1.5 billion command center in the clouds. To the casual observer, it's just another Russian aircraft gliding through restricted airspace. But step inside one of Vladimir Putin's 4 Il-96 300 PUs, and you're no longer on a plane. You're in a throne room that flies. Valued at an estimated $1.5 billion, these aircraft don't just transport a president, they preserve a regime. At first glance, the Il-96 is a wide-gummy long-range airliner, a Soviet-era design updated by Russia's top aviation firm Ilyushin. But what these presidential variants carry is beyond commercial imagination. The outer shell is laced with radar-absorbing materials, while the underbelly hides missile jamming systems, encrypted satellite uplinks, and suspected EMP shielding. This isn't VIP transport. It's an airborne fortress, capable of remaining airborne in crisis scenarios when the ground may no longer be safe. Inside, however, is where politics meets opulence. The interior follows a distinctly neoclassical Russian aesthetic. Velvet curtains, crystal chandeliers, carved wood paneling, and gilded ceilings reminiscent of imperial palaces. One cabin resembles a royal chamber more than an executive suite, complete with a desk set to be a replica of the one inside the Kremlin. The carpet isn't merely soft, it's custom woven with national symbols, reminding every visitor who this sky belongs to. The layout includes a private bedroom, a conference room with encrypted communication systems, and even a medical suite with surgical-grade equipment. Intelligence sources suggest each Il-96 300 PU can run live intelligence feeds, secure military orders, and real-time diplomatic channels. In essence, if Moscow fell, the Kremlin could still function at 39,000 feet. But what elevates this aircraft from impressive to iconic is the secrecy surrounding it. Only one jet is active at a time, and each flight includes at least one decoy with mirrored transponder data. Flight paths are altered mid-air. Even Russian insiders don't always know which jet the president is on. And while Donald Trump proudly toured journalists through his personalized Boeing, complete with gold seatbelt buckles and embroidered pillows, Putin's jet was built in silence, watched only by satellites and whispered about by NATO analysts. One screams power, the other whispers control. And control is exactly what the next aircraft challenges, not with neoclassical grandeur, but with a stripped-down philosophy, wrapped in military code and fueled by a different kind of power. One born in the West, but engineered for something far beyond borders. King Charles and the power of modesty. While some leaders fly through the skies wrapped in gold trim and missile armor, King Charles III takes a different approach, one rooted in symbolism as much as practicality. His choice of aircraft, the RAF Voyager, isn't gold-plated or chandelier-lit. It's an Airbus A330 MRTT, technically a military tanker, modified for VIP and royal use. But its message is clear: dignity over decadence. The British monarch travels aboard a jet that values efficiency, function, and subtle security. There are no gem-studded walls or rotating prayer rooms on board. Instead, the RAF Voyager is outfitted with secure satellite communications, dedicated office space, and a modest royal suite, allowing the king to govern, communicate with Downing Street, and meet diplomats while in the air, without turning the aircraft into a palace. It's a conscious departure from the more lavish setups used by his global counterparts. There's no gold-plated staircase like on King Salman's 747, no neoclassical throne room like Putin's Il-96, and certainly nothing resembling the airborne fortress of Air Force One. And that's the point. Since ascending to the throne, Charles has leaned into public perception as a modern, eco-conscious monarch. The Voyager reflects that same restraint. While still costing around $100 million to convert and operate for royal and governmental duties, it's often used by both the royal family and UK prime ministers, blurring the lines between monarchy and statecraft. Even its paint job was controversial when revealed. Subtle grey with a Union Jack livery, not exactly understated, but certainly not dripping in luxury either. Yet, behind the modest facade lies readiness. The jet retains refueling capabilities and can be retugged as a military support aircraft within hours. In that sense, it serves as a diplomatic bridge, equipped to handle both ceremonial duties and strategic missions. What King Charles flies isn't designed to impress the world, it's designed to represent it. A balance of heritage and humility, status and service. And in a world where excess is often mistaken for strength, the Voyager whispers a different kind of power. Quiet, deliberate, and unmistakably British. Comment modesty in the sky if you think sometimes true power doesn't need gold, it just needs purpose. Because next we're boarding a jet that rewrites what luxury even means by replacing the paint with actual gold. Sultan of Brunei's flying gold bar. In a world where private jets blur the line between engineering and ego, no aircraft gleams quite like the Sultan of Brunei's Airbus A340-200. Estimated at $120 million, this isn't just a jet, it's an airborne treasure chest, polished in real gold and wrapped in royal discretion. While other leaders opt for security, speed, or strategy, the Sultan chose something different: opulence as identity. From the outside, the aircraft appears like any other long-range Airbus, though modified for ultra-class private use. But once inside, the tone shifts from commercial-grade functionality to something closer to a Bouchereau showroom at 35,000 feet. Every detail has been customized. Gold-plated lavatory fixtures, marble sinks, and seatbelt buckles coated in 24-karat gold. Even the window frames glisten with precious metal accents, refracting sunlight into the kind of glow that most jets only simulate with LED panels. The cabin layout resembles a floating royal palace. Crystal lighting fixtures hang above Persian rugs, high-back thrones replace conventional recliners, and the dining area? Lined with hand-carved wood paneling and furnished with china embossed with the Sultan's crest. It's not simply designed for comfort, it's curated for reverence. Beyond aesthetics, the jet carries its own cultural code. A private prayer room aligned to Mecca is seamlessly embedded into the floor plan. A built-in lounge provides space for royal guests and advisors, while the master suite offers a level of isolation that rivals presidential command centers. And, though rarely publicized, the aircraft is rumored to include classified defense upgrades for emergency extraction and protection. Just enough function beneath the form to remind you, this is still a head-of-state aircraft. But make no mistake, the message isn't about diplomacy or practicality, it's about legacy. In a monarchy where oil wealth flows like water, the jet is a symbol of permanence, an artifact in motion, designed to echo Brunei's historical prestige and economic dominance with every takeoff. It doesn't travel often, but when it does, it makes a statement louder than any press release. Power doesn't need to shout when it shines. And yet, while this jet wears its value in plain sight, the next one hides its power behind encrypted channels and armored walls. Built not to impress, but to operate in silence when the world gets loud. France Presidential Airbus A330 Elegance in the air. France has never needed to shout to prove its sophistication, and when it comes to presidential travel, that legacy of subtle strength continues aboard the French Air Force's Airbus A330-200. It doesn't wear gold like Brunei, or vanish into the sky like Putin's Il-96, but it doesn't have to. It operates in a different language entirely, one of precision, discretion, and Parisian poise. Valued at over $270 million after its military to VIP transformation, the A330 used by the President of France is a floating contradiction, understated in design, yet undeniably powerful in function. Its external livery, simple white with the tricolour tail, is the only part that feels modest. Step inside and the experience shifts. The aircraft contains a private presidential suite, complete with a bedroom, shower and dressing area, but it doesn't stop at comfort. This jet was built with continuity of government in mind. Just behind the living quarters is a fully operational command room, equipped with secure satellite communications, real-time video links, and space for classified briefings. Ministers and aides can hold meetings mid-flight in a dedicated boardroom, while senior staff operate from a separate workspace equipped with encrypted terminals. But the most surprising feature, a surgical-grade operating room, installed for emergency procedures during long-haul diplomatic missions. No other European presidential jet contains anything this advanced. It's an airborne contingency plan, ensuring that even at 40,000 feet, governance survival can continue. And of course, it wouldn't be French without a layer of aesthetic finesse. The cabin blends contemporary luxury with minimalist chic, sleek leather furnishings, oak wood paneling, and subtle lighting inspired by boutique Parisian hotels. There's no excess, just elegance, engineered into every square inch. This jet doesn't project intimidation, it radiates control and calm. The kind of power that doesn't require gold leaf or missile pods. It speaks to France's role as a diplomatic heavyweight, measured, strategic, and always ready. Comment elegance at 40,000 feet if you think power doesn't need to scream, it just needs to travel well. Because next, we're stepping into a jet where restraint disappears. And power is measured in square footage and encrypted signal strength. Air Force One vs Putin's jet, prestige, power, and paranoia. There's no name in aviation more iconic than Air Force One. Officially designated as the VC-25A, this heavily modified Boeing 747 isn't just a mode of transport, it's a flying symbol of American executive authority. Valued at over $1 billion, it carries not just the President of the United States, but the continuity of US governance, diplomacy, and deterrent. The interior spans over 4,000 square feet, divided across 3 levels. There's a secure conference room, a presidential suite, and multiple fully enclosed offices. Journalists travel in a separate press section, and classified briefings happen in a soundproof, encryption-hardened compartment deep in the aircraft's core. Every square meter is wired for function. Nothing is ornamental. From the outside, the powder blue livery and United States of America lettering are instantly recognizable, but beneath that elegance is a platform designed to remain airborne during a nuclear war. The VC-25A is equipped with electromagnetic pulse, EMP, protection, aerial refueling capability, and advanced radar countermeasures. It can fly indefinitely if needed, refueled mid-air, relaying secure communications directly to NORAD or the Pentagon. But as powerful as Air Force One appears, its visibility is part of the brand. It announces America's arrival before the president even steps off the plane. It's meant to be seen. Vladimir Putin's Il-96-300PU, on the other hand, is designed not to be noticed. His 4 identical jets rotate flight schedules, send out decoy signals, and travel under diplomatic silence. Where Air Force One broadcasts power, Putin's fleet conceals it. A deliberate inversion of Western transparency. Even among intelligence agencies, which Il-96 Putin is on at any given time, is rarely confirmed. Technologically, the 2 aircraft are peers. Both include secure comms, encrypted networks, and hardened defensive systems. But symbolically, they represent entirely different doctrines. Air Force One is a product of constitutional continuity and soft power. Putin's Il-96s are built on ambiguity, redundancy, and controlled panic. It's not just a contrast of aircraft, it's a contrast of governance. One projects stability, the other, uncertainty. Both, however, are designed to function under threat, one through diplomacy, the other through unpredictability. And still, there's one more aircraft that dares to outprice them both. Less famous, less talked about, but quietly the most expensive government jet ever built. The Billionaire's Jet Index, how nations define themselves in the air. Power is never just about what you fly, it's about what your aircraft says when it lands. And in the final chapter of this airborne hierarchy, 2 jets close the list, not with noise or notoriety, but with quiet precision and billion-dollar symbolism. India's Air India One, a Boeing 777-300ER modified for the Prime Minister, is less dramatic than Air Force One, but no less capable. Outfitted with missile defense systems, encrypted satellite comms, an onboard medical emergency unit and anti-jamming technology, it's a fortress in the sky. Capable of mid-air refueling and flying 17 hours non-stop, it allows Prime Minister Narendra Modi to conduct diplomacy across continents without pause. Its clean white exterior, with India written in both English and Hindi, reflects the nation's rising geopolitical assertiveness wrapped in cultural pride. Inside, the cabin is divided into conference areas, a VIP lounge, and a compact presidential suite, modestly designed with cream tones and minimal embellishment. No chandeliers, no gold, just function. Militarized elegance, designed for work, not wonder. But then there's Germany's Airbus A350-900 XWB, recently delivered for Chancellor Olaf Scholz. The jet is estimated at $1.34 billion, making it the most expensive governmental aircraft in the world, not because of opulence, but because of engineering depth. It's a flying command system equipped with the latest in European communications encryption, electronic warfare defense, and multi-zone government operations. The cabin hosts areas dedicated to parliamentary work, crisis management, and real-time NATO connectivity. It's not built for display, it's built for governance. Despite its immense cost, there's nothing flamboyant about its presence. It doesn't scream wealth, it whispers strategy. In a nation known for its efficiency and restraint, the A350 quietly asserts that Germany's leadership isn't measured in spectacle, but in systems. Together, these jets are more than transportation. They're declarations, some gilded, some grey, some built to dazzle, others to outlast. Comment national power in flight if you believe jets like these aren't just machines, they're flying mirrors of global ambition. Because when the engines shut down and the door opens, what steps out isn't just a leader, it's a nation, arriving with altitude. These jets aren't just transportation, they're mobile statements of dominance, culture, and survival. Whether it's Kim Jong-un's Soviet deception, King Salman's airborne palace, or Putin's $1,500,000,000 0 fortress, each aircraft tells a deeper story about the world leader who commands it. And while Trump may have bragged about his gold faucets, even he looked twice at the technology and secrecy behind Russia's airborne Kremlin. If you enjoyed this look into the skies of the powerful, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to Billionaire Story, and turn on the bell so you never miss what real power looks like at 40,000 feet.